Hey guys, you are on the most mystical channel, Mr. Creepy Depp. Today I'm going to tell you a true scary story about how I was left all alone at home and something terrible happened to me. Huge request, subscribe to my channel and put a like under this video. This will give me the opportunity to tell longer stories for you. Thank you all for your support and enjoy watching. I've always cherished the tranquil solitude of being left alone at home. On this cozy Friday night, my family had gone out of town for the weekend, granting me the liberty of an empty house, which I intended to relish. With a bowl of popcorn and an enticing book in hand, I settled down, eager to soak up a peaceful evening. As the wind howled outside, it created an eerie soundtrack that was perfectly suited for a night of thrilling reading. Deep into my novel, the words on the pages drew me further into the story. Suddenly, I detected a faint creaking noise. My heartbeat quickened and I halted, concentrating my senses to catch the sound more distinctly. I was probably just imagining it, I reassured myself. I tried to focus on my book again, but the unsettling feeling wouldn't leave me. That's when I heard it again, a soft, rhythmic thumping, as if someone were walking upstairs. Panic welled up inside me. There shouldn't have been anyone else in the house. My family was miles away. I put my book down, my palms clammy with fear, and decided to investigate. Slowly, I crept up the stairs, each step creaking beneath my weight. The thumping grew louder, and I could now hear what sounded like wordless whispers, indistinct and disturbing. My pulse quickened and my mind raced with possibilities. As I reached the top of the stairs, I followed the sound to my parents' bedroom. The door was ajar, and the dim light from the hallway spilled into the room. My breath caught in my throat as I pushed the door open gently. The room appeared empty, but I could still hear the faint whispers. I stepped further into the room and froze. The closet door slowly began to creak open, revealing darkness within. My heart pounded in my chest, and a cold sweat formed on my forehead. I could feel my body trembling as I approached the closet, the whispers growing louder and more unsettling with each step. And that's when I saw it. A shadowy figure emerged from the darkness of the closet, her features obscured, and she extended a long, bony hand toward me. The whispers evolved into maniacal laughter, and a sense of dreadful fear swept over me. I wanted to run, to escape the nightmare unfolding in front of me, but my feet were rooted to the spot. I was left alone at home, and I had no idea what sinister presence had come to visit me in the dead of night. With trembling hands, I reached for my phone in my pocket, desperately trying to dial 911, but my fingers were clumsy, and the screen was a blur. The sinister figure in the closet continued to laugh, the sound echoing through the room, drowning out all rational thought. As the emergency dispatcher's voice crackled on the line, I stammered out a plea for help, trying to explain the impossible situation unfolding before me. The dispatcher assured me that help was on the way, but the laughter from the closet grew louder, more malicious. I turned my attention back to the shadowy figure, whose laughter began to morph into a taunting growl. "You can't escape," she hissed, and her voice made my body feel paralyzed. Panic welled up inside me, and I realized I had to make a run for it. Summoning every ounce of courage, I bolted from the room, racing down the hallway and bounding down the stairs. My phone clutched tightly in one hand, I reached the front door, flinging it open and rushing into the cold, moonlit night. As I sprinted across the lawn, the distant wail of sirens grew louder, offering a glimmer of hope. I stumbled through the darkness, praying that the police would arrive in time to save me from the malevolent presence that had invaded our home. But the darkness seemed to close in around me, and the laughter of the shadowy figure still echoed in my ears. The night held its secrets, and I was left alone at home with a sinister force that defied explanation. The approaching police sirens became a beacon of salvation in the eerie night, and I waved my arms frantically to signal their arrival. As the patrol cars screeched to a halt, the officers rushed towards me, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. I tried to explain the bizarre and terrifying events inside the house, but my words came out in frantic gasps, and I could see the skepticism in their eyes. Nevertheless, they approached the front door, guns at the ready, and I followed closely behind. The whispers and laughter had ceased as we entered the house. The officers searched room by room, finding no trace of the sinister figure. It was as though she had vanished into thin air. Frustration and fear gnawed at me as the officers assured me that there was no sign of an intruder, but they agreed to conduct a thorough investigation. As they combed through the house, I couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. The entity I had encountered had been all too real, yet there was no evidence to prove it. The hours passed and the night dragged on as the officers continued their search. With each passing moment, my fear grew, and the certainty that the malevolent presence was still lurking somewhere in the shadows weighed heavily on my mind. The police assured me that they would remain on site to ensure my safety. They encouraged me to stay with a neighbor for the night, but I couldn't shake the feeling that this ordeal was far from over. I reluctantly agreed to spend the night at my neighbor's house, unable to escape the persistent feeling that the malevolent presence was still lurking somewhere in my home. The officers continued their investigation throughout the night, their flashlights and radios creating a constant buzz of activity. As dawn broke, the police finally emerged from my house looking weary and perplexed. They had found no physical evidence of an intruder, no logical explanation for the sinister events that had unfolded. They assured me that I was safe to return home, but my soul remained heavy with unease. I cautiously stepped back into the house, the morning light casting its warm glow upon the rooms, dispelling the haunting shadows of the night. I couldn't help but wonder if it had all been a vivid, terrifying dream. I cautiously made my way to my parents' bedroom, where the closet door stood slightly ajar, just as it had last night. I pushed it open fully, half expecting the ghostly figure to reappear, but the closet was empty. The room was devoid of any traces of the malevolent presence, as if it had never been there at all. I shivered, struggling to accept the inexplicable events of the night. I decided to put the nightmare behind me, choosing to believe that it had all been a result of exhaustion or stress. But as I settled back into my book, the voices and laughter continued to echo in the corners of my mind, a terrible reminder that some mysteries defy explanation. Once again, I was left alone at home, forever haunted by the mysterious evil that had touched my life that fateful night. That was the end of it. I hope my story impressed you. If so, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have the most mystical stories from around the world waiting for you in the upcoming videos. Don't miss out. See you in the next video.